Well, it's Obamacare, take two. The second phase of the open enrollment period started today. But that headline may be now overshadowed by a bigger one. We're told that those who bought into Obamacare could now face a big increase in prices next year and maybe even the year after that if they don't switch plans. This, as the president is expected to issue his executive order on immigration, granting legal status to up to 5 million illegals, all that adding more fuel to the resumed headbutting in Washington. What does this all mean for us? Tammy is a radio talk show host and Fox News contributor. Doug Thornell, a former spokesman for the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee and former communications director to Maryland Congressman Chris Van Hollen. Doug and Tammy, welcome.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Tammy, let me start with you. I mean, this is unbelievable. According to this report by Medical Daily, they cite the research firm Health Pocket. Get a load of this. Rates could go as high as 78%. If you're a man, you're 23 years old. 78.2% if you're 63 years old. 22.7%. And if you're a woman, a young woman who's 23, it could go up by, almost half, 44.9%. And if you're 63, 37.5%. Was this supposed to happen?
Well, look, we anticipated this. A lot of the reports you're seeing now are based on the silver plans. They ignore, the White House and HHS has ignored those numbers, which really reflect the bronze plans, which is where those young people are moving into, those with not a lot of money. Those are the plans that people were purchasing. And so when there was not a big rush to sign up for those plans by young people, we knew that there was going to be, when the pool was smaller than they thought, that this was going to shift. What's disturbing is, with all of the news that people will see, is they say, well, it'll go up a single digit, or maybe some people will get it lower. They're looking at a small sliver of the silver plans. You really have to look at the expanse of the entire pool, and you're looking at really major increases. And then there's the other issue of telling people that they better change their plan. They should shop and switch out of the plan that they bought. The concern there, of course, is that's an attempt to lower costs, but are you then going to have it once again, lose the doctor you chose, lose the hospital you chose again? This is bad news for the administration with the Gruber revelations and with the SCOTUS hearing, the issue on the subsidies. So they're in bad shape, and nobody really is surprised at this point.
Well, Doug, I mean, are you surprised that, look, young people, they're supposed to save Obamacare. They're the very basic of it. And now we're told that by the CBO, they say they need 13 million people in it next year, and the administration says only be 9 million.
Well, look, I remember last year when people were predicting that the Affordable Care Act was going to fall under its own weight, and it actually did pretty well in terms of signing up over 7 million people. To what Tammy was pointing out, actually premium increases are, compared to historical standards, are pretty low. 3% in the silver plan and 4% in the bronze plan. And in 48 cities, this was a Kaiser Foundation study, they actually found that premiums decreased. But there is, this varies widely across the country. I mean, this is a private insurance market. It's not the federal government. If there was a public option, you might be able to have a controlled fee, but there isn't. These are all private insurance companies that are making the decision. But overall, and don't forget, many people are going to have tax credits. 85% of the people who buy on the insurance exchanges are going to have a tax credit, which will reduce the cost.
Well, this adds even more, as Tammy mentioned, Gruber. Saying that they fooled around to make sure there wasn't a tax, that they lied to the American people, basically, that voters are stupid. Now we have the immigration executive order, Tammy. That's coming down. Is this president arrogantly defiant, or he just sticks to his principles and as he sees it, and that's where he wants to take the country?
Well, look, there's a dynamic here for Obama. They really, I think, truly believe that they only lost the midterm because they didn't gin up their base. They don't think that it's about Barack Obama, or that maybe the base stayed home because everyone is being hurt by the economy, that this is really about economy and jobs. They think that it's because they didn't get out the word enough on their main issues. But Mark Udall in Colorado did get out the liberal word on the issue of the war against women and all of that, and that failed. So we see that this was not just a federal issue, but a local, state issue. Governors going from blue to red as well. I think think what Obama is doing here, though, is believing that if he does all of this, it will change perhaps the dynamic for 2016. So everything he does is political. There's nothing really that is looking at what's best for the American people. And his plan at this point isn't just about deportation. All the stories are about, well, this will lessen deportations. The fact is, these are individuals, according to Senator Jeff Sessions, who will get a Social Security card and a work permit and photo ID. This is really the beginning of naturalization, which is bad news for African Americans in particular, who are still suffering under double-digit unemployment
Well,
rate.
also, one other thing, Doug, you get the last word. Other people say that he's doing this to stuff the Democratic Party with a whole bunch of new voters that could vote Democratic in 2016.
I think that's absurd. He's doing it because, and we don't know what he's going to do, but we have some idea. He's doing it because the House is refusing to act on a bipartisan immigration bill that passed with 69 votes. Everyone from Marco Rubio to Chuck Schumer voted for that, and House Republicans refused to act on it. And I would just point out that there wasn't a lot of outrage when President Ronald Reagan or George H.W. Bush or George W. Bush took deferred action against individuals who were here illegally as well. So, look, I think he's doing it because he thinks it's the right thing to do. Politics plays a role in everything. Politics plays a role in what Republicans are doing now in terms of threatening to use the budget to stop the president. So I think he's making a decision that this is in the best interest of the American people, and I hope he goes forward with it, or I hope Congress actually acts and allows at least a vote on the bill that the Senate passed.
Well, it seems more likely that he's going to do it next week, whether some Republicans or even Democrats like it or not. Tammy and Doug, thank you for joining us with your analysis today.
Thanks, guys.